Please, for once and for all, stop calling it the Mecca of basketball. This week, we're going to start off with a team that's always in the news, but rarely for the right reasons. Yes, the New York Knicks.
I was born in New York City.
Man, thank God New York City gave us hip-hop, because it certainly hasn't given us much in the way of basketball over the past few, decades? Instead, the Knicks give us soap opera after soap opera after soap opera. And now, of course, in a tale that would make General Hospital envious, we've got Knicks president Phil Jackson and Knicks star Carmelo Anthony butting heads. What a shame that in the Mecca of basketball, drama, rather than defense and dunks, rules the day.
Then again, on second thought.
Thanks, Kane. That's right. On second thought, it actually does make sense, since with Broadway and all, New York is much more a mecca of drama and entertainment than basketball. In fact, if you ever hear me refer to New York City as the mecca of basketball again, slap a brother.
What is the 5 fingers say to the face? Slap!
The notion that New York City is the world's hoop mecca is one of the most overstated myths in the game. Here's why.
The Knicks are not a great NBA franchise.
Contrary to popular opinion, the Knicks do not embody greatness. The Knicks are historic, yes. Along with the Boston Celtics, they're the only teams that have been in the league for its entire 70-year existence. Congratulations. There is something to be said for longevity. But when longevity is not coupled with winning, well, it actually just highlights your futility. 2 championships in 70 years. That's what the Knicks have produced. 2. And the last one came 44 years ago. Think about that. Not one player in the league was born the last time the Knicks won a title.
It's been a long time.
14 franchises have won NBA championships since then. 8 of them claiming multiple crowns. And you're the Mecca? That's like calling Pittsburgh the Mecca of baseball because the Pirates won 2 World Series back in the 1970s.
Black and yellow, black and yellow.
Look, I admire the loyalty and knowledge of Knicks fans, but y'all have to realize that when people outside of New York look at your team, all they see are L's.
I'm from New York and never was a fan of the Knicks.
You're not a national team. You're not the Yankees or the Cowboys or the Lakers. I grew up in the Midwest, and when I thought of the NBA, the Knicks were, maybe the 9th, 10th, 11th team that came to mind, even when they got good again after drafting Patrick Ewing. And yes, those Knicks teams were good. They ultimately ended up being remembered as Michael Jordan's punching bag, which is fitting because those Knicks gave us a brutal brand of basketball that was more similar to something you might see in a boxing ring.
Say go New York, go New York, go! Go New York, go New York, go!
New York is where legends go to die.
You've heard the term coach killer. Well, the Knicks have become legend killers.
I ain't a killer, but don't push me.
Lenny Wilkins and Larry Brown were Hall of Fame coaches when they took over the Knicks, but neither lasted more than a year. Isaiah Thomas was one of the greatest players of all time and a winning coach in Indiana. In New York, his tenure as the Knicks president and coach is remembered more for an embarrassing sexual harassment trial than for any success on the court. And now Phil Jackson, the NBA's winningest coach of all time, is ticking off the league's best player.
Yeah, I'm talking LeBron. We ballin' our family tree.
Ticking off his own best player, Melo. And ticking off the fans by handing out them bad contracts. Oh, and under the man with 11 rings, the Knicks record 69-141.
Is this bad?
As if that weren't bad enough, the New York quicksand doesn't stop at coaches and executives. Steve Francis, Penny Hardaway, McGrady, Marbury, Stoudemire, they all found their way to the Knicks, but not until their best years were behind them. Still, other players who lost in New York went elsewhere and helped teams make deep playoff or even championship runs. Yeah, I'm talking Zach Randolph, Trevor Ariza, J.R. Smith, Iman Shumpert, Timothy Mozgov.
Last night night took a L, but tonight I bounce back.
New York City no longer produces great NBA talent.
I get that New York's reputation as the Mecca of basketball stemmed not so much from the Knicks, but from the terrific players that once hailed from the city's playgrounds and high school gyms. Bob Cousy, Lenny Wilkins, Tiny Archibald, Connie Hawkins, Julius Erving, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Bernard King, Chris Mullin. Hall of Famers and New Yorkers, all of them. But those days are over. Mullin, whose NBA career ended in 2001, was the last Hall of Famer from New York. Today, there's only 12 New Yorkers in the whole league.
Hold up.
That's right, America's largest city has only 12 players in the NBA. And guess what? None are perennial All-Stars, let alone future Hall of Famers. The best? Kemba Walker, who's having a tremendous season for the Charlotte Hornets. But he may not even be one of the league's top 10 point guards. Even the big-time college programs know that all the Mecca talk regarding New York City is now foolishness. Once upon a time, Sebastian Telfair, if you even remember that name, landed on the cover of Sports Illustrated. But recruiters have wised up. 2 years ago, New York State ranked just 27th in the nation per capita in producing D1 players. Delaware ranked higher. Delaware. So painful as they may be, those are the facts. The question is, how do the Knicks go from being a humorous sideshow to a franchise moving in the right direction rather than in circles? One thing they can do is take heed to what I'm saying and recognize that they are not the Mecca, not a hoop heaven, not a destination franchise that kids around the country grow up wanting to play for. That'll keep them from thinking plan A, B, and C is landing every superstar free agent that hits the market. Secondly, show a little dang patience. The Knicks fired Mike Woodson 1 season after he led them to 54 wins and the second round of the playoffs. They fired Lenny Wilkins when he had a 40-41 record. Right now, the Knicks would die to be one game under 500. Finally, there are some exceptions, but for the most part, hire people at positions they are proven and experienced in. If you want to hire Phil Jackson, hire him to coach. If you want to hire Derek Fisher, hire him to play. New York is not the place to get your feet wet. As the Knicks have proven, that only leads to drowning.
And if you don't know, now you know.